Dear Macy, Father Cyril's sister, Charmaine, Father Cyril's niece, Ralph, Father Cyril's nephew, dear sisters and brothers who are present here and those who are viewing this online, we have gathered here as a family to say au revoir, farewell to Father Cyril. You will pardon me if I call him simply Cyril, because that is what he always wanted. A great human being, a committed Christian, an exemplary Jesuit, an outstanding professor of philosophy and theology, a creative playwright, an empathetic counselor, and so on. As a family and community, we share our pain, grief, and sorrow. We have silently shed tears and will continue to do so. Words and condolences cannot lessen our pain. Death is so painful and final. Though we'd love to have Cyril physically back with us, though we long to hear his voice, drown in his laughter, and feel his touch, it is simply not possible now. So we become aware of our pain, even as we surrender dear Cyril with faith, hope, and love into the loving embrace of God. It is providential that Cyril passed into the loving embrace of God on September 8th, the feast of the Nativity of our Blessed Mother Mary. And today we have this funeral mass on September 17th, the feast of Saint Robert Bellarmine, a Jesuit cardinal and doctor of the Church. I specifically mention doctor of the Church since from all that I've experienced, heard, and read about Cyril, I would call him a doctor of the Church for present times. A few days ago, a young man called Nehal came up to me and asked me, "Father, can I have a relic of Father Cyril?" Taken aback, I asked, "Relic?" And he says, "Yes, a pen or a small handkerchief will do. We must canonize him." Moreover, another ex-SSU member, Glenn from Australia, called me to talk about Cyril, and he said one of my friends told me that Cyril must be canonized. Now, knowing Cyril, he would have laughed at this. So I stand here not to deify Cyril or canonize him, but to perform two tasks. The first is to initiate a commemoration, a bringing together of memories and voices, echoing what Cyril was to us and how he touched us all. And second, to highlight three ideals that Cyril would probably have us imbibe for ourselves based on his life and mission. This Eucharist is always a commemoration, a bringing together of memories of that God who loved us so much and gave himself for us on the cross. And that's why we are here. At his 80th birthday on December 2020, I had used the letters of his name, CYRIL, to highlight some of his values and attitudes. I will do the same today, but this time sharing and echoing the views of you, his dear sisters and brothers, who have spoken volumes about him. So let us begin. C, creative and committed. Bishop Malcolm Sequeira of Amravati says, Cyril's creatively written musical plays not only showcased talent, but fostered community and profound social values. Cyril's creativity found expression in his writing and directing of approximately 40 plays with over 50 performances in various venues in Pune, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. I myself met Cyril the first time when I was a young boy in school in the 1970s when he came to Bandra to perform with his troupe Eschaton. Ever since, I have been in awe of him. Now, creative people are often moody and find it difficult to concentrate on one task at hand. But not Cyril. He was deeply committed to his two biggest responsibilities as professor of philosophy and youth animator. A typical day of Cyril was like this, as told to Kiran, a youth friend. He would wake up early every morning to be in the chapel at 6 a.m. for prayer, meditation, and Eucharist. Then he would lecture in Jnanadeep from 9 a.m. onwards till lunchtime. At 4:30, he would cycle 8 kilometers from DNC to camp area to spend hours with youth, sitting at Kalyani's, what they call K restaurant, sipping chai, listening to youth, emphasizing with them, counseling them, supporting them. And then he would cycle back from here to De Nobly College, often arriving there just before midnight. Our parish priest, Father Joseph D'Souza, says this: I admire Father Cyril's commitment. Even when he had a stroke and speech impediment, he gave himself 100% to his youth ministry and Bible classes. Why? I'm sure you know what this is about. Youth and youthfulness. Gujarat Jesuit Cedric Prakash says, in Cyril, one can see a perennial youth. The age-old song, "You Shall Never Grow Old," is so apt for him. Youth, whether at JDV, DNC, or SSU, which is an abbreviation for Searching and Serving in Unity, was certainly the heart and the core of Cyril's priestly ministry. Cyril started the SSU way back in 1972. I think some of you here are from that period. He said, I started the SSU for youth of any religion and for atheists too, since I learned that youth needs someone about a decade older who would not pounce on them with judgment or lecture, but just understand them and deliver them from harm and evil. Sheila Pereira, an SSU member in the 1980s, testifies to this, saying, you could tell Cyril your fears, your mistakes, your dreams, your hopes, and he always listened. There was never judgment or lofty advice, but just a kind presence that gave you the space to pour your heart out. Likewise, Nisha Montero here says, we affectionately call him Padre Panic because we could go to him so often for advice. R for radical and revolutionary. Radical can sometimes be understood negatively as radicalized or fundamentalist. But the word radical derives from the Latin radix, R-A-D-I-X, which means root or rooted. Cyril was deeply rooted in God, whom he called Daddy Darling, for Abba Father. And from this rooting and grounding, he reached out to all God's people in wondrous ways. In today's gospel passage from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 21 to 29, Jesus praises those who build a house upon rock and not upon sand. Cyril undoubtedly built his house solidly upon God, called by any and every name. He radiated Christ wherever he went. Helen Netto notes, Cyril comes across as a true disciple. Knowing Cyril is knowing Christ. From his rootedness in God, Cyril developed wings that made him a revolutionary in the best sense of the word. Physically moving out of his cozy comfort zone and mentally breaking down all barriers, prejudices, stereotypes, antiquated ways of thinking, and boring ways of living. For me, he exemplifies what Pope Francis called a revolutionary of tender love. Intelligent and integrated. When I say intelligent, I mean wise, which is much, much more than being brainy or intellectually sharp. Intelligence for Cyril was his Solomon-like wisdom, which he relentlessly sought, as today's first reading from the book of Wisdom, chapter 7 says, I prayed, and understanding was given me. I entreated, and the spirit of wisdom came to me. Cyril was the finest of philosophers, since he had profound philo love for wisdom, Sophia. Michel Mendonça Bambawale says, Cyril is one of the most intelligent and inspiring people I know. He has helped me to keep my faith strong. I have learned so much about theology, philosophy, religion, education, media, theater, literature, cinema from him, and he has pushed me to think deeper and harder at so many levels. In a post on X, formerly called Twitter, the eminent MP Shashi Tharoor speaks of a time as a teenager when he was flirting with atheism. Cyril convinced him of the existence of God. And Tharoor writes, while rationalism always has its limits in matters of faith, that ability to combine reasoning with conviction was a hallmark of the young Father Cyril. Cyril's wisdom was not up in the head, so to say, but animated every fiber of his being. Many called him a man of all seasons, harmoniously integrating contemplation and action, head with heart, body and soul, philosophy and theology, faith with justice, theory and praxis, divine with human, earth and heaven. Why, even faith with agnosticism and atheism? For Cyril, life was not a struggle of opposites, polarities and dualities, but a colorful kaleidoscope of events and experiences, calling everyone to be fully alive, fully human, fully divine. L, I'm sure you'll guess what L is. Love and liberation. Last but not least, the most outstanding characteristic of Cyril was his loving and lovable nature. In an interview, Cyril said of his students and youth friends, they will do anything for you if they know that you love them. Don't just tell them, but show them. Cyril showed us all that his love was not some abstraction or pious platitude, but it was flesh and blood, down to earth, selfless, boundless, limitless. Everybody felt deeply and uniquely loved in his presence. Cyril was liberated and interiorly free. Father Stan Jerome D'Souza, the POSA president of the South Asian Conference, opines, what made Cyril great was his love for freedom and for the youth. Both he treasured deeply and promoted consciously. Since Cyril experienced inner freedom, he would conduct very fruitful courses on the philosophy of liberation. Former Dean of Philosophy at JDV, Kuruvilla Pandikattu, writes, de Brule's enduring contribution lies in his philosophy of liberation. He insisted that India did not need a theology but a philosophy of liberation, one that would enable people across faiths and ideologies to humanize their lives and transform society. Now, as a second part of my homily, I ask myself, and I invite you, dear sisters and brothers, to ask yourselves, what legacy does Cyril leave behind for me and for you? What lessons can we learn from him? For starters, I will give you an ABC which inspires me. A for availability and accompaniment. Maxie and Maggie Vaz Ni Lobo say, Cyril is a true friend and confidant, always available no matter what time of the day. Indeed, Cyril was always available to accompany anyone and everyone 24/7, 365 days of the year. Cyril accompanied us all, sometimes leading from the front, sometimes leading from behind, but most often journeying alongside. Youth need to be accompanied, not lectured to, critiqued, and condemned. Enshrined in the word accompaniment is that little word P-A-N. Say paon, pane, pain, etc., meaning bread. Loosely translated, accompaniment would mean being bread for a journey or breaking bread together. Cyril's accompaniment meant being bread for others. He nourished us with his life, his breadness, so to say. May we follow suit. B, building bridges and breaking boundaries. Cyril broke man-made boundaries and built bridges between classes, cultures, genders, castes, religions, regions, languages, and so on. His outreach to youth of other religions is phenomenal. Insia Lokhandwala, a Muslim, was delighted to play the role of Miriam, Noah's wife, in Cyril's play entitled 2 by 2. She says, and I quote, "I went for the audition even though most of the SSU members were Christian. As I started becoming more and more involved with the SSU's activities and started to know Cyril, I felt more accepted and I did not feel like an outsider at all. They accepted me for who I am." That's what building bridges is all about. C, for compassion and commitment. Anyone who knows Cyril will vouch that he was a deeply compassionate person, and one who is compassionate will always be committed to one's mission, no matter what the cost is. The Greek word for compassion is splanchitsnomai, a churning from the intestines, the insides. Cyril truly felt a gut-level compassion for all those he encountered and enriched. Consequently, he committed himself wholeheartedly to all these, especially the last and least of our sisters and brothers. Late last night, Glenn Adshed from Australia sent me an article on Cyril saying, one of Cyril's enduring messages was about the powerlessness of death. He often referred to the deceased as so-called dead, saying, so-called because we know through the power of the resurrection that they are not really dead, but are now experiencing the fullness of life, safe in the arms of Daddy Darling. Moreover, yesterday, his niece, Charmaine, showed me an SMS Cyril sent her days before going for his retreat. He said, "I'm going for my 8-day retreat, and I shall return larger than life and twice as natural." She was quite surprised what that would mean. Dear Cyril, in your so-called become larger than life and twice as natural, we all feel you are supernatural. You loved the philosopher Gabriel Marcel, who said, "The lover can say to the beloved, 'You shall not die.'" Yes, Cyril, we all say to you in 1,000 symphonic voices, "You shall not die. You shall continue to live within us, above us, around us. Rest in the loving embrace of your darling Daddy and intercede for all of us till we meet again. Au revoir. Peace. Shalom. Shanti. Amen.